Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're essentially putting on our digital anthropologist hats. Think about it. Every single day, we interact with just thousands of interfaces. We blindly click, we swipe, we type, usually without a second thought, just blasting rapidly through these digital doors. But what happens when we hit the brakes and freeze a single micro moment in time? Well, today we're going to meticulously deconstruct the micromechanics of one single web authentication page. We're looking really closely at the Softwin gateway. Now, to the naked eye, it might just seem like a few mundane words on a screen. But as you'll see over the next few minutes, it is actually a carefully engineered threshold sitting right between the public internet and a private digital ecosystem. Let's break it down. Okay, let's dive right into this. First time here? I mean, it's a super simple question, right? But think about the incredible philosophical weight it carries in the digital realm. When an interface asks you this, it's instantly attempting to categorize you. Like, are you a known entity or are you a total stranger? Do you belong in the inner circle or are you stuck standing out in the cold, basically knocking on the window? This one single question dictates your entire trajectory from this moment forward. It establishes the whole power dynamic between you and the platform. So let's take a look at the raw material we're working with today. This is it. Sign in to Softwin, sign in with password, first time here, create an account, stay signed in. Exactly 15 words. But within these 15 words lies a complete, self-contained functional universe. We're going to spend the rest of our time today unpacking exactly how these specific phrases act as a really complex digital threshold. We'll meticulously analyze the utility and the implicit demands placed on you, the user, the exact second this text renders on your screen. We'll see how literally every single word serves a distinct architectural purpose. Let's start with Section 1, the Softwin gateway. Or as I like to think of it, the destination. The opening phrase, sign in to Softwin, well, it isn't just a polite greeting. It's a firm declaration of place. You have arrived. It's like a neon sign above a guarded door, establishing the boundary between the open web and Softwin. And this brilliantly illustrates the underlying cognitive decision tree that you instantly, almost subconsciously navigate the moment this simple text loads up. Step 1, you arrive at the gateway. Step 2, the system effectively interrogates your status. And step 3, you're forced to make a binary choice, authentication or creation. There's absolutely no neutral ground here. The interface demands a decision, funneling human behavior through a highly specific digital pathway. You can't just browse this gateway. You have to interact with it. Which brings us to our second phase of analysis, Section 2, password authentication, or the credential. So this is the designated path for the established user. The interface swiftly shifts from establishing location to demanding proof of identity. The pleasantries, yeah, they're over. Look closely at this specific command, sign in with password. Let's just pause here for a second and really think about what this means. It is not a request, it is a hard directive, and it relies entirely on a massive assumption. It assumes a pre-existing relationship. It assumes that at some point in the past, you and Softwin basically made a secret pact, and you share a piece of knowledge, the password. If you don't have it, your journey on this path hits a brick wall. The sheer brevity of the phrase reflects the harsh, binary nature of digital security. You either know the secret or you don't. Let's actually define the functional reality of what we're looking at here. Sign-in is the mechanical process requiring a user to provide a recognized credential to bypass the gateway and access Softwin. Behind those three totally innocuous words, sign in with password, lies a deeply complex cryptographic reality that we never even see. Hashed strings, database queries, zero-trust architectures. The text itself is incredibly simple, incredibly human, but its role is absolute. It's a strict, unforgiving security barrier protecting the ecosystem behind it. It's literally translating human memory into machine access. But what if you don't have that secret? Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 3, the new user journey, which is all about interrogation and invitation. If you don't possess the secret password, the gateway doesn't just reject you and leave you at a dead end. It actually intelligently offers a parallel path. First time here? I'm throwing this rhetorical question at you again just to really highlight the active role of the interface. It doesn't just sit there passively waiting for you to fail. It actively interrogates your status. By asking this, the system is attempting to catch the user who just hit a roadblock at the password prompt. It softens the blow of rejection by immediately offering a solution. It gracefully pivots from a hard security barrier to a welcoming hand, redirecting your journey from potential frustration straight into onboarding. Check out this ultimate visual comparison of these two distinct paths: sign in with password versus create an account. This perfectly emphasizes the rigid binary choice the text forces upon every single visitor. You are either an insider or you are an outsider seeking entry. There is no gray area here. The architecture of this gateway demands that you declare your status before you can proceed a single pixel further. It is just a highly efficient sorting mechanism. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what happens when you actually decide to take that second path. If we peek at the link behind create an account, you don't stay on a bespoke Softwin server. Nope, the source code reveals the true destination: softwin.substack.com/subscribe. This tiny little detail is a massive revelation for our digital anthropology study today. It proves that Softwin's gateway is actually built entirely on top of Substack's publication infrastructure. What appears to be an independent proprietary login screen is actually a perfectly integrated layer resting on a massive standardized platform. It's a brilliant illusion of a standalone fortress, utilizing Substack's underlying machinery to do the heavy lifting. And that brings us to our final phase of the source text analysis. Section 4, Persistent Access Mechanisms, or the commitment. Once you've navigated the gateway, whether you did it by authenticating your existing credential or creating a brand new account via Substack, the interface makes one final crucial play focused entirely on user retention and removing the friction of future access. Stay signed in. Just 3 words. But guys, we really need to give this phrase the analytical weight it truly deserves. This is an invitation to make an ongoing commitment. It is the interface outright asking for permission to place a tracking token, a cookie, right onto your local machine. It's a carefully calculated trade-off being offered up to you. You give us a tiny piece of real estate on your personal browser, and in exchange, we'll magically remove the friction of this gateway for your future visits. It's pure convenience in exchange for persistence. What we're really talking about here is the concept of session persistence. That is a functional mechanism eliminating the need for future authentication, fundamentally altering the user's return journey. By accepting that little prompt, you are fundamentally changing the architecture of your next visit. You are essentially building a permanent bridge over the very moat we've been analyzing for the last several minutes. You are permanently bypassing this specific gateway going forward. So the crucial point is how all of these distinct microactions piece together to form a complete, incredibly efficient functional architecture. Look at this complete flow. The destination is declared, Softwin. The credential is challenged, the password. The alternative is offered, reviewing the underlying Substack subscription infrastructure. And finally, the commitment is requested. Stay signed in. What looks like a boring, completely standard login screen is actually a total masterclass in behavioral psychology and digital funneling, and it's all executed perfectly in just 15 words. Which leaves us with one final provocative thought as we wrap up our analysis today. What does it actually mean to commit to staying signed in? When you allow these gateways to remain perpetually open just for the sake of convenience, what boundaries are you blurring between your private device and these larger, massive digital ecosystems? It's absolutely something to deeply consider the next time you encounter one of these invisible digital commitments that we make, often without even thinking, every single day. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the architecture of access. Stay curious, and I'll see you on the next explainer.